Kulusevski's got a great shot. And Manchester City have shot themselves in the foot.
To Manchester City. Manchester City.
Rodri!
Today, we're diving into one of the biggest stories in football, Manchester City's financial scandal. This isn't just another controversy, it could redefine the landscape of football as we know it. What does it mean for the club, the Premier League, and football as a whole? Stick around as we break it all down. Let's start by tracing Manchester City's transformation. Before 2008, City was a club with a storied history but limited success in the modern era. All that changed when Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan, a member of the Abu Dhabi royal family, purchased the club. The takeover was not just a financial injection, it was the beginning of a revolution. Over the next decade, City spent over £1 billion on new players, recruiting world-class talents like Sergio Aguero, Kevin De Bruyne, and more recently, Erling Haaland. This spending spree wasn't just about buying players, it was about changing the football landscape. City became synonymous with success, winning 5 Premier League titles in the last decade and establishing themselves as a global brand.
Manchester City have scored! Sergio Aguero has got the goal!
However, this rapid ascent has always been shadowed by questions. How could City afford to spend so much? Were they really playing by the rules? And as it turns out, these aren't just rhetorical questions. Manchester City's success story is now under a cloud of suspicion. The Premier League has charged the club with more than 100 breaches of its financial rules, spanning from 2009 to 2018. These are not minor infractions. They cut to the heart of how City has operated financially. The charges include 1. Inflated sponsorship revenues. It's alleged that City overstated the value of their sponsorship deals, particularly those with companies linked to the club's owners. This allowed them to appear as though they were adhering to financial fair play (FFP) rules, which require clubs to spend within their means. 2. Undisclosed payments. Another serious allegation is that City made secret payments to both players and managers. This could involve offering additional compensation that wasn't disclosed in official documents, thus bypassing wage regulations. 3. Misleading financial statements. The Premier League claims that City submitted false financial statements, potentially misleading both the league and UEFA about the club's financial health. These allegations are backed by years of investigation, which began following the infamous Football Leaks revelations in 2018. If proven true, these charges could demonstrate a deliberate attempt by Manchester City to circumvent financial rules and maintain their competitive advantage. To fully grasp the severity of these allegations, we need to understand what financial fair play (FFP) actually is. Introduced by UEFA in 2011, FFP was designed to prevent clubs from spending beyond their means, aiming to ensure the financial sustainability of football. The core principle of FFP is simple. Clubs must balance their books over a rolling 3-year period. This means they cannot spend more money than they earn. The goal is to prevent clubs from racking up unsustainable debts in pursuit of success, which could destabilize the entire football ecosystem. However, FFP isn't just about preventing overspending, it's about creating a level playing field. Clubs with billionaire owners like Manchester City could theoretically outspend their rivals indefinitely, skewing competition. FFP aims to curb this by limiting how much owners can inject into their clubs without corresponding revenue. But as we've seen, FFP has been controversial. Critics argue that it protects the established elite clubs by making it harder for new challengers to break through. Manchester City in particular has been at the center of this debate, often seen as a case study in how far a club can push financial regulations. If Manchester City is found guilty of these breaches, the consequences could be unprecedented. Here's what might happen. 1. Heavy fines. The most immediate consequence could be financial penalties. These fines would be substantial, not just as a punishment, but as a deterrent to other clubs. 2. Points deduction. In the Premier League, a points deduction could have a severe impact. Depending on the timing and severity, it could cost City League titles or even jeopardize their position in the top 4, affecting their qualification for European competitions. 3. Transfer bans. Another potential sanction is a ban on registering new players. This would hinder City's ability to reinforce their squad, particularly in key transfer windows, potentially derailing their competitiveness. 4. Title stripping. One of the most drastic measures could involve stripping City of titles won during the period of alleged violations. This would be a major blow to the club's legacy and would stir significant controversy within the football community. 5. Expulsion from the league. Although highly unlikely, the most extreme punishment would be expulsion from the Premier League. Such a decision would be historic, signaling the league's commitment to enforcing its financial rules without exception. Manchester City isn't the first club to face such severe allegations. To understand the potential fallout, let's look at some historical precedents. Juventus, 2006 Calciopoli scandal. Juventus was found guilty of influencing referees during Serie A matches, leading to their relegation to Serie B, the stripping of 2 Serie A titles, and severe financial losses. The club's reputation was tarnished, and it took years to rebuild. Paris Saint-Germain, FFP violations. PSG's 2017 acquisition of Neymar and Kylian Mbappe raised eyebrows due to the enormous sums involved. UEFA launched an investigation, leading to financial penalties and scrutiny of PSG's sponsorship deals. While the club avoided the most severe sanctions, the case underscored the tension between wealthy clubs and financial regulators. Barcelona, 2014 transfer ban. Barcelona was hit with a transfer ban after FIFA found the club guilty of violating regulations regarding the transfer of minors. The ban affected 2 transfer windows, limiting the club's ability to sign new players and forcing them to rely on existing talent. These cases show that when football's governing bodies decide to act, the consequences can be significant and long-lasting. They also demonstrate the importance of maintaining a club's reputation, not just in terms of competition, but also in the eyes of fans and sponsors. The fan reactions to this scandal have been intense and varied. Manchester City supporters are understandably concerned. Many feel that their club is being unfairly targeted.
What we're seeing here now with City, Pep Guardiola was to leave Manchester City, that would become a lot more difficult, and other teams are spending more money than them at this moment in time, so it would start to equalise.
Possibly due to jealousy from rivals or as a reaction to the club's recent dominance in English football. On the other hand, rival fans, especially those of traditional powerhouses like Manchester United, Liverpool, and Chelsea, are calling for the Premier League to enforce strict punishments. They argue that if City is found guilty, it's imperative to uphold the integrity of the league and ensure that financial rules are respected.
It's ultimately the threat of relegation from the Premier League if the more serious charges against Manchester City.
Beyond the fan base, this scandal has caught the attention of pundits and football analysts worldwide. There's a growing conversation about the broader implications for football, how this case could redefine the way financial regulations are enforced, and what it might mean for the future of football governance. The impact of this scandal will also ripple across the football world, affecting not just Manchester City but also how other clubs operate. If severe sanctions are imposed, it could lead to a more cautious approach to spending, particularly among clubs with wealthy owners. So what happens next? The legal battle is likely to be protracted and complex. Manchester City has already shown that they are prepared to fight these allegations tooth and nail. They have some of the best lawyers in the world, and if found guilty, we can expect a series of appeals that could stretch out over years. If this case follows a similar trajectory to others in football, such as those involving UEFA's FFP regulations, we might see the club's punishment delayed or even reduced through legal challenges. However, the Premier League's independent commission process is somewhat different from UEFA's, and the specifics of this case might lead to new precedents being set. During this period, Manchester City's ability to operate as usual will be under a cloud of uncertainty. This could impact their performance on the pitch, their ability to attract new players, and even their relationships with sponsors. In the long term, this scandal could have far-reaching consequences for both Manchester City and the Premier League. If City is hit with significant sanctions, their current dominance could be significantly curtailed. This would open the door for other clubs to challenge for titles, potentially leading to a shift in the balance of power in English football. The Premier League itself could also undergo changes. If the league is seen to be enforcing its financial rules strictly, it could deter other clubs from attempting similar tactics. However, it could also lead to tensions between the league and its wealthiest members, potentially driving a wedge between clubs with different financial capabilities. Moreover, this case could prompt a broader review of how financial regulations are enforced in football. It might lead to stricter oversight and transparency requirements, not just in England but across Europe. For City, even if they survive this scandal with their status intact, the club's reputation could suffer long-term damage, affecting their global brand and influence. In conclusion, the Manchester City financial scandal is about much more than just legal wrangling. It's a pivotal moment for football. The outcome of this case could redefine how financial regulations are enforced in the sport and could alter the balance of power in the Premier League for years to come. Manchester City faces an uncertain future, and the entire football world is watching closely. Whatever happens, this will be a case that goes down in history. We'll continue to follow this story closely, so make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay updated with the latest developments. What do you think should happen to Manchester City? Let us know in the comments below. Your thoughts could be featured in our next video.